hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
And the back car restarts up we go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome to the 8th race of the season here in Brazil at Interlagos. Halfway into the season, we move into North America for the last 7 races as the racing continues to heat up. This is Goat Locker's Sports Car Series presented by MK Fire Design right here on V-Speed, your #1 source of online race coverage. I am Ken Huber, your Season 1 champion. Alongside me is Jacob Lenke. We've got Bobby Bender doing production tonight, and as always, Dougie Beers on cameras. Well, welcome to Sao Paulo, Brazil there, Jacob. Glad to have you on board here tonight.
And a big bon dia to you too. I love this track. Everything about it is great. The massive front stretch that you can get a lot of run off of the final corner, and just the inner technical section that can mess up even the greatest of drivers.
Yeah, and it is kind of a small track. You're looking at 2.67 miles, so it is a smaller track. And unlike where we were at last week, which Monza, a lot of high-speed straightaways here, there is a pretty demanding slow section on this track. So fuel consumption, especially for the prototypes, is going to be really interesting tonight because I think maybe they might be able to do it on one stop. It'll be the first time maybe this season that the prototypes will be able to do that. We know the GT3s obviously can make it on one stop, but we'll see how these prototypes get around this track here tonight.
Yep, downforce is going to be the key through the middle sector, through the final turns 12 and 13 back there. You can pretty much go flat out from the exit of 12 all the way back uphill and down toward the Senna S.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, one of my trickiest corner on this track for me is probably turn 5. It's a turn 4 and 5. Actually, it's turn 4. You come out of 1, 2, 3, which is that heavy braking zone on the straightaway, but then you come into 4. It's kind of a tricky off-camber corner, really easy to over-send the car, so to speak, and then you head uphill into turn 6 and 7. The car gets really light before you get into those big that slow S section. I can't even talk tonight. Section of the track there. But it really, it's a very demanding track, and we'll probably see a lot of action here tonight for sure. Well, I think we've just about wrapped up qualifying, so I guess we should talk about our Pole Award winning. And Jam Printing and Promotions are the ones that are the sponsor for our Pole Award winners. And since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed to printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. And here we go. We got our Pole Award winner is going to be Brendan McDonald here tonight in that GTP. Going to start there in the first position with Sammy Yosef on his outside in P2. Elijah Toth will start in the third position with Billy Sigmund starting on his outside in fourth. Jamie Lipke will start on the inside in the fifth position, and Reagan Carty will start on her outside in sixth. And in the last prototype field here is going to be Bill Molefield starting seventh.
Meanwhile, with your GT3s, Upman Badmus goes back-to-back in back-to-back weeks for the pole. Joshua Jackson coming through in second. Johnny Hamby going to roll off in P3. Jacob Ellingson with that Mustang in P4. Timothy Williams brings his BMW into P5 with John Houchin in P6 with the Porsche. on a softick in the police car of all things, with DJ Patterson in P8. Nicholas Myers in P9. Matt Weber is rounding out your top 10 in the only Audi in the field. And Mike Swartzen and Brandon Ribeiro finish out your 12-car GT3 field.
Yeah, so we got 19 cars out here overall. It's a good group of racers that we have lined up here for you tonight. Looking at that field there, you're looking at the leaders of the GT3 just behind Bill Mofield in that flag-spirited car out there in that prototype just ahead, that Cadillac. We do have, like I said, that short parade lap. So these guys will be going green flag in probably about the next 30 seconds here. They're just in the back half of the course, and this is a slower section of the course. They've got a couple more corners to get through here before we do get to the green flag. And you'll see these guys want to get heat in these tires really well. I noticed during practice there, Jacob, that the prototypes, comes as no surprise, though. The prototypes are really tricky on cold tires, and this track really will emphasize that for sure.
And speaking of tires, there was a rework to how some of the GT cars, because of the update that came through today for the next season, there's a rework to how the GT3 cars handle and some of their tires as well. A lot more marbles are going to start being picked up by some of these cars, and that might play a factor into some of the spins that we may see and just overall handling.
Yeah, they're going through the final. This is this turn they're going through right here is almost 180 degrees. It's another one of these tricky turns as they're coming out of the S's, and then you're going to sweep downhill, high speed, pretty much no brake being used here. And this is where you want to set up a great braking zone because you don't see a lot of passing coming downhill into this next turn, and I believe this is turn 11. I'm just taking a look here just to make sure I'm not telling any lies. No, it's turn 12 actually. That was a turn off there. But this corner here, getting a good break into this zone so you can get off the corner here because you're going full throttle after this. And this is where they're going to use the most fuel. This is where a lot of the passing you'll see happen here tonight. And then, of course, we got the turn 1 calamity that these guys will have to make through, too. It's a very hard braking zone into turn 1 as we're about to turn them loose.
Yes, indeed. GTP's on their way up the hill. Going to see that top of the hill with the stripe for the first time. Pace car is going to pull down into the pit lane, and I think we're about ready to get going.
Brandon McDonald's got the pole here tonight. Reagan Carty did not take a time, so that's why he's not up there. Sammy Yosef on the outside. They're with it. We're green flag. Brandon McDonald lead him down the straight stretch. Sammy Yosef on the outside. Going to have to be very careful getting into turn 1 here on these cold tires. Sammy Yosef took a look to the outside. Brandon McDonald's going to clear as they get single file going into 1.
Meanwhile, the GT3s take the stripe and are on their way down through turn 1. Jacob Ellingson caught up in the middle of the corner with the BMW right behind him. Everybody getting single file. Uthman Badmas jumping out to a great start.
Yeah, doing a great job like he did last week. Last week's winner at Monza was Uthman Badmas. As we're watching Reagan Carty, he's starting from pit lane. So I don't know what's going on there, but Reagan Carty now on the track. He mixes it up there with the GT3s. You can see him. So he didn't even do the pace lap here. He's just coming out on those cold tires right out of pit lane. Going to see if he can...
Contact further back. That's Mike Swartzen. That's Jacob. That's not Jacob Ellingson. That's one of the other Porsches getting caught up as well. I believe that's Nicholas Myers in the 038. It looked like Swartzen ended up going across the nose of the McLaren back there. That with DJ Patterson in the 236. I'm not sure whether or not there's going to be a penalty coming out of that or not, but the Audi gets through. Brandon Ribeiro gets through unscathed, and those two are going to have a lot of ground to make up from that first minute.
Yeah, we're still watching this replay here. You can see Reagan Carty there on the inside coming off pit lane. Just taking another look at this incident between these cars.
Yep, taking a closer look at Matt Weber's in the 52, the Audi right there, the last running of the GT3 cars, and whoa, disappears momentarily, has to dodge quick or get contacted by the 935 of Mike Swartz and makes it through, and that's a net 2 positions for the 52.
Yeah, I think that's what our producer was trying to show is watching that 52 get through that mess kind of cleanly there. Back up front, you're looking at another driver here, one of our race winners in that Corvette. got a couple wins on the season, but started a little bit further back in the field here, trying to run his way up to get back up to the lead here. Oh, excuse me, that is our leader of the GT3 field. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Joshua Jackson going around on that tricky set, going up that hill, and this is what I was talking about. The car gets really light up there, and you got to be ever so gentle when you're trail braking up there to get that car set, and sends that thing around. Another one of our race winners.
Spins in the middle of the course, and that loses him 6 spots, falling behind the Mercedes of Brandon Ribeiro, who's working on the BMW of Anna Softic right now. Those tires are going to be cooked for Joshua Jackson. He's going to have to cool those down before he tries to make any more moves further up the field.
Yeah, the nice thing about the new tire model we got a couple seasons ago is it will only take about a half a lap. He'll be able to get those tires cooled, and he should be good to go and try to make a run back as we're watching Anna Softic get around in the police car. Speaking of which, I guess now is a good time to mention it. Anna Softic is one of our most recent Warrior Spotlight and Sim Rig recipients on the season, but Anna Softic, he's our 17th Warrior to have received equipment from us and the 14th to get a full Sim Rig. He has spent 15 years with the Allen County Police Department in Fort Wayne, Indiana, working his way through several roles as a school resource officer, patrol, and Huntertown resource officer before earning a full-time instructor position at Allen County Range. He is currently one of four full-time instructors specializing in firearms and defensive tactics. He is also on his 8th year on the SWAT team, where he serves as the newest team leader, training coordinator, and one of 4 snipers. You'll see him on the track on Tuesdays right here tonight, where you're seeing him here in the Sports Car Series. Be sure to welcome him on board if you haven't. Proud to have him as part of the Goat Locker family, as he's getting passed by Joshua Jackson right now. Take that graphic down. We didn't actually see that pass, but Joshua Jackson able to get back around. Actually, a couple cars able to get around him. Brandon Ribeiro and Joshua Jackson able to get around Honest there.
But he is making a good, honest effort at it right now, and he's kept his line for the most part, and that is great to see him getting into the swing of things with Goat Locker, as we saw a pretty good showing out of him last week as well.
So I'm going to call your attention back up front to the prototype. So Brandon McDonald still leading this thing, but not by much. Got about 1.3 over Sammy Yosef back there. Sammy Yosef, both these guys are in the Porsches, but Sammy Yosef back there in that chrome Porsche there, trying to chase him down. He's actually made up just about a 1/10 of a second here through the last couple of corners. But man, Sammy Yosef has just looked strong. I mean, he probably doesn't have the finishes that you'd expect for as strong as he's been running tonight, but tonight might be one of his nights. We'll have to wait and see, but if he can keep that car on track and put the pressure on Brandon McDonald, Sammy Yosef might have something here by the end of this race.
Yep, and the biggest thing that I've seen from him, the biggest weakness he has is time, because as the time ticks down, he starts making more drastic, more like desperate moves to try and get more time to the leader, and that ends up costing him dearly, as he is closing in on our leader, Brandon McDonald, and we're fixing to have a little bit of a fight here for the first position.
Yeah, and as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, and thinking about Reagan Carty's strategy of starting from the pits, it's actually got me thinking that might have been a fuel move, because he doesn't have to do the pace lap. He can save a little bit of fuel, and I said that these cars were probably going to be on edge to do it on one stop, and maybe that's what Reagan Carty's thinking. And so while these guys are out there racing, Reagan Carty came out of the pits, saved maybe a quarter of a gallon or whatever he needs, but it might allow him to make it on one stop, where these other drivers might potentially be looking at 2. I don't know. What do you think about that, Jacob?
I think that it is going to come down to the wire regardless, because everybody's strategy is going to be a little bit different based on how hard they're trying to push for this first one and how much they're going to have to be able to fill up for the second one. And I don't think it's going to matter too much for a lot of people, because Carty is already, after starting in the pits with less than 10 minutes in the race, already up to the 4th position.
Well, we're all here to find out, but right now the big battle is still up front. Brandon McDaniel, Sammy Yosef has closed that gap up. He's now within almost a half a second. He was within a half a second a half a lap ago, but opened up a gap a little bit on the straightaway here, maybe saving a little bit of fuel, but starting to really reel in that machine of Brendan McDonald.
Yep, 92 still keeping it on the point as we've seen previously. He's going to have a little bit of lap traffic up here. That's the 52 of Matt Weber's in the Audi, just falling off the pace a little bit. GT3 traffic, and that's going to benefit Josef as he's going to have a little bit of a better line through there as McDonald had to go wide to avoid him. Josef is going to have less than a half a second gap to McDonald, pushes it a little bit wide to try and curl back into the wake of the 92.
And this is where you got to be careful. You're going to start taking the downforce off. Samuel Josef's machine is going to start losing downforce here as he closes into the back of Brendan McDonald. So he's got to be careful going through this S section. This is, like I said, this turn here is almost 180. You got to be very careful. Now they're going to wind these things out. Samuel loses a little bit of time there. So that's probably exactly what I was talking about. Lost a little bit of downforce on the front end there, and that car slid up and pushed tight on him. So he lost a little bit of time, but I'm sure he'll be able to run him back down.
Yep, gets a great exit out of 12 there and rounds around 13, trying to catch up. He's just barely losing a little bit of time because McDonald got a great exit on 13, getting up to the line now as we are almost 10 minutes into this one.
Yeah, great battle in the prototype field. Meanwhile, back in the GT3 field, Uthman Badmus is continuing to lead this thing in his Corvette. Won last week. I mean, last week was his first race here there, Jacob, and he's showing that he's here to stay and going to try to put another win on the season. I know it's early. He's got Johnny Hamby behind him, but Johnny Hamby is almost 7 seconds behind him now at this point. So Hamby didn't have probably the showing he normally would have back last week at Monza. Hamby's first race was last week as well. But Hamby is running in second tonight, so he does show that he has speed. But I don't know. He doesn't look like he has anything for Badmus at the moment.
Yep, this is a super technical track, and it looks like track knowledge might play a factor into what we're seeing right now in terms of competition as Badmus is stretching it out by the second, already up to 7.2 over Hamby.
And then another driver back there, Jacob Ellingson, you mentioned at the start of this race in the My Little Pony Mustang out there. Doing a great job there in third. We've seen Jacob Ellingson have all kinds of struggles this season. Right now he's sitting in a podium position. It'd be kind of nice to talk to him once in a while. So Jake, if you're listening, let's try to get a podium out of this Mustang tonight and see what he's got there. But he's looking solid. So for such a technical track, he's looking really solid. And I've always been impressed with his ability to get around the road courses, but his finishes just haven't shown, what his true potential is.
Yep, he's just got to run his line and do what he does best, which is drive the car. Don't get into his own head like he's prone to do, and everybody else being a bit farther away from him is probably to his benefit.
Got another battle here. We're looking at DJ Patterson right now. You got Joshua Jackson trying to chase him down. This is in the GT3 field. This is for the 7th position there. You got Joshua Jackson. We've seen him spin early in this race, trying to gather it up. He's got those tires cooled back down. Now working all over the back of DJ Patterson here. They go through I'll call it the 170. I want to say it's always the almost 180. It feels like it's 180. Going to come down the hill here, and this isn't really a good passing zone, but the exit here is. And if Joshua Jackson can get a great exit here, he's going to get it gifted to him as DJ Patterson. Yeah. DJ Patterson does a little bit of mowing out there and have to gather that car back up and try to chase him down. Brendan McDonald there, our leader of the prototypes, just went by on the outside. Now we're watching the two teammates, Elijah Toth and Reagan Carty has now caught his teammate now. Reagan Carty continuing to put down a blistering pace here. And as they go down the front straightaway, Reagan Carty's going to take a look at the inside. Into one, nothing doing there. Toth isn't just going to give it to him, it looks like. So Reagan having to fight, and that's what Brendan McDonald would like to see. But man, Reagan Carty's so fast that he's still got to be worried about running him down. Now Reagan Carty definitely has the advantage coming down here into turn 4, and will take that position away from his teammate there.
Yeah, Toth pushed it a little wide on exit, caught the curb a little too much, which allowed Carty to swing it further inside, and he just had the biggest acceleration through that sector that you could possibly get. Gets around the GT3 and is starting to gap Elijah Toth already as he's chasing down Samuel Joseph.
Yeah, that's DJ Patterson there caught in the middle. Toth gets stuck behind him, and it's a really difficult place to pass. Going to get by him now, but DJ Patterson had that struggle. We watched him go off track there the last lap, and he does have that machine gathered back up, and looks like he's got on a soft tick creeping in back into that picture towards DJ Patterson.
Yep. Meanwhile, there's another battle for the 4th position in the GT3s. Brandon Ribeiro, a car that started further back in the field, is within 0.6 of the 4th place runner of Timothy Wilms. We haven't seen these two get together too often, but Ribeiro put on a great showing at Monza, and I would love to see another battle between him and some of these other top drivers as we see our leader, Brendan McDonald, swing to avoid the two drivers here. Joseph is going to catch him right into the corner here, has to tuck back in and try and get him on exit.
Yeah, Joseph was right there, and I was watching that as you were talking about those two other drivers. I was like, okay, we got a couple of great battles here shaping up, and that other battle just ahead of him kind of choked up Joseph. Joseph had to back it down, opened up a big gap that allowed Brendan McDonald a little bit of breathing room, but Joseph is super fast tonight. I'm sure he'll be able to run that car back down, but you know, that's the great thing here about multi-class racing is you got to use the traffic. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug, and it depends on where you catch it and how well you time it. And Brendan McDonald got lucky there, and Sammy Joseph didn't, but maybe next time by they run into lap traffic, it'll be the opposite.
Yep, and just behind this battle that looks to be a little bit over at the time, Brendan Ribeiro trying to stretch it out to 0.3 seconds, just goes a little bit wide over Timothy Wilms, but Wilms has to back out because guess who? Reagan Carty is blazing past these two to try and catch up to the leaders.
Yeah, Reagan Carty now in that podium spot, so continuing to make time. And I'm just really interested, you know, if that's a field strategy move. I guess we'll have to wait till this race concludes at the end here to see if that's what he was doing. But currently up front, still Brendan McDonald is leading this thing. He's got about a 6-second lead over Reagan Carty. You can see it there on your timing and scoring up there on the left-hand corner, but looks like about 6.2. Reagan Carty had a little bit of traffic there. He'd been a little bit closer, but I'm watching the leader, Brendan McDonald, now going by some of the GT3 traffic of Jake Ellingson, and Joseph is starting to reel Brendan McDonald back in ever so slightly. Got about 5 car lengths back. We'll see what he can do through the S's here.
The gap to Joseph about 0.9 seconds and averaging out right now from McDonald. And you mentioned Reagan Carty might have started from the pits as a fuel strategy. He ain't saving any fuel right now. He is flying to catch up to these two.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be pretty obvious he will probably within the next 5 laps probably get up to Sammy Joseph. If Sammy Joseph hasn't passed Brendan McDonald by now, but or by then. Well, you can see those two drivers headed down towards the start-finish line. Brendan McDonald's got that thing wide open, cutting that corner. That's the entrance to pit lane. This is a very easy to get onto pit lane, but very difficult to get off of. We'll probably talk about that tonight. Looks like Sammy Joseph is going to catch Johnny Hamby in the GT3 car. So, some more bad timing for Sammy Joseph. He seems to catch the cars at the wrong time. That's going to slow his momentum down. Going to lose a little bit of time. He's going to have to wait to get through 1 and 2 before he can get around Hamby and work on Brendan McDonald once again.
Yep, he's got through there past that lap car. And another battle is shaping up in the GT3s as John Houchin is fighting off Joshua Jackson, who had some issues before with that spin on exit. Both of the Porsches dueling through the middle sector.
Yeah, Joshua Jackson is kind of one of those surprising drivers out there that just he shows up out of nowhere. He's got a couple wins on the season, and he did one there at Suzuka on fuel strategy. Oh, he goes around. Oh, that was not good.
That was contact with John Houchin. It didn't look like that he squeezed him too much. I think they might have just got sucked together. Let's take another look at that.
Yeah, you can see Joshua Jackson there on the outside, and yeah, no, Houchin squeezes him off into the grass there. And just Joshua Jackson trying to keep it off the grass, just couldn't do it. Now he's going to have to reset and start again. I'm sure he's probably got a little bit of fire under that racing helmet right at the moment.
Might be a little bit of damage on that left side too. As he gets back going, he's getting back up to speed. He's got a decent gap to Honest Softic, which keeps him in the 7th spot. But we're going to have to see if Houchin gets a penalty for that, because that was movement on the straightaway.
Yeah, that was unnecessary right there. Unfortunate incident there for Joshua Jackson. The one thing about damage, we're at a point in this race right now. We're only 20 minutes in, and you say, well, you're only 20 minutes in, but I think our GT3 field is probably within their pit window at this point. So if he had significant damage that was slowing him down, he could come in, get that car topped off, get it repaired. They do have one quick repair that they can use tonight. Get back out there and start making some laps and making some quick times. That's not true for the prototype field, but probably the GT3s are safe at this point to start making their pit road entrances if they'd like.
Yep, you want to get in there, get it fixed, and get back to it as soon as possible. As we're seeing another battle starting to shape up. Honest Softic in the 8th position, being chased down by the 038 Porsche of Nicholas Myers. That fight is within 9/10 of a second right now as they make the drag through towards the middle sector.
Yeah, we'll see how this battle works out. Another thing I wanted to mention about the GT3s and coming in early, there is one disadvantage to coming in early, even though that you could do it, is you load this thing up with fuel, you will go slower. So you won't be as fast as you are on an empty tank. And so the guys try to stay out as long as possible, try to get those hot lap times in before they do take the tank of fuel. But that's kind of how that goes sometimes. They're still watching this battle with Honest back there and Nicholas Myers. So Honest out there in the black and white pursuit vehicle, the old California Highway Patrol, it looks like. I don't know what that is. Very classic police car design, that's for sure.
You said Honest was he was a policeman in Fort Wayne, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
I was born in Fort Wayne. You know what else makes their home in the state of Indiana?
I think you're going to tell me there, Jacob. I think you got a pretty good idea.
Yes, sir. The Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs is an agency focused on assisting Hoosier state veterans, service personnel, and their families in obtaining state and federal benefits. They work with a network of certified county veteran service officers to provide no-cost assistance with information and paperwork preparation. They have been a long-time partner with Goat Locker, and we look forward to continuing our relationship for years to come.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, if you're in Indiana and need help, look into these guys. Might be able to really hook you up. Don't take advantage of the services that are offered to you guys. That's what they're there for, and they want you to use them and get out there and contact them if you need help out there, trying to find some work out there locally and see what they can do for you. But we're watching Honest get around this thing. Back up front, Sammy Yosef is starting to close back in our prototype field. Brendan McDonald is back down to 0.8 of a second, 0.7. Running Brendan McDonald down, he's like, God, how many times am I going to catch bad traffic? But if you look there in the very back, you've got Reagan Carty creeping into this picture, now only 3.5 seconds back, less than that even. So Reagan Carty is starting to knock on the door of these two drivers up here. So I'm sure they see him coming, and they're like, dang it, he got up here in a hurry, and I'm going to have to figure out something to get around here a little bit faster.
Yep, it's taken him a little over 20 minutes, but Reagan Carty is starting to creep into the lead conversation right now as Yosef brings it back down within a half second to McDonald. He's been having a little bit of trouble getting through this middle sector. McDonald's been going through there flawlessly, but Yosef is still keeping that gap good, and he's keeping McDonald honest as they continue through this event.
No, I'm really impressed with Yosef's driving tonight. He's really handled the traffic well. Didn't get flustered. You see a lot of drivers out there. You get set back by lap traffic. You see him going around another lap car there. I believe that was Mike Swartzen. But you get hung up by lap traffic. You can get frustrated. You start pushing the car too hard, and you spin yourself out or get into the back of one of those GT3 cars. But he's doing a great job. He didn't let it get to him. And, even though he got set back, he's able to run Brendan McDonald down each and every time. So that's showing that more and more every week that I watch him race, he's just getting more and more disciplined.
Yep, discipline is a key word when you're trying to drive these cars, because you want to try and get as good a line as possible repeatedly throughout this event, because it's not laps. You're running for time. And the less time that you spend trying to figure out those corners and the more time you're able to get it set and just rotate around, the faster you're going to be, and it's going to be a lot closer to the finish by the time you get there and make that move.
Well, they're headed through the 170 right now, getting ready to head downhill into the braking zone. We'll see if Samuel can make up any time here, but like you said earlier, now Brendan McDonald's got a little bit of advantage coming down into the braking zone here. And Brendan McDonald's been really strong. This is a part of the track where you need to be the strongest, because this is where races are won and lost. This final corner here, going uphill towards the start-finish line, this is where you got to be at your very best, because if you mess up that last corner, that race could be lost right there. And Brendan McDonald seems like he's got that corner nailed. Sammy Yosef has been pretty much better just about everywhere else.
Yep, the exit of 14 through the entry of turn 1 is so pivotal. You want to maximize your exit of that turn so you don't compromise the entirety of the front stretch going forward. And we just saw that from McDonald and Yosef as that gap stretched out by 2/10 when Yosef didn't get that good exit.
Yeah, and that's exactly what can happen there. Now, the big question we're coming up almost to the halfway point, and this is where, you know, the prototypes are going to be low on fuel, and it's going to be a curious thing when we'll see these cars start pitting, and that's what we're going to have to watch is that clock and when these prototypes start pitting, because I'm really interested in whether this is going to be a 1 or 2 stop race. I think that's very important, and I know I keep mentioning it in how fast Reagan Carty is, but we've seen him in previous races being super fast and also one of the best on fuel. So, you know, that you know, I'll keep saying it, but the way he started from the pits, I think that might be a race-winning move if these guys have to do it on 2 stops. We'll see. I'm just it's just one of those things. It's in the back of my brain, and if I was those top 2 drivers, I'd be thinking about it too.
Yep, and they're going to have to, because he is within 2 seconds of Sammy Yosef right now. You can see in this shot coming up that blue and white car, that blue, white, and red car just getting closer and closer to the silver one with every lap that passes.
Yeah, he's going to be there by the halfway point of this race, that's for sure. He's going to be knocking on the back of Sammy Yosef. Sammy Yosef actually starting to fall back off Brendan McDonald just a little bit. Made that mistake that you called out there, Jacob, in turns 1, 2, and 3. And just hasn't been able to re-reel Brendan McDonald in. But Brendan McDonald might have been saving some fuel himself. And now that he sees Reagan Carty creeping into the picture, might have stepped it up just a little bit. Oh, he has to swing wide there, getting around Joshua Jackson there. That GT3 machine gets around. Sammy Yosef is going to look to the inside now. Actually, I think that was Matt Weber's in the 52 machine that they just got around. So that slowed Brendan McDonald's pace up just a little bit there. Sammy Yosef was able to game. Well, actually, Sammy Yosef, I think, got hung up there too. But don't look now, Reagan Carty all over the back of Sammy Yosef.
Definitely held up a little too much there, as Yosef has Reagan Carty within 1/10 as they make their way through the back half of the track, up the hill, going to have this left-hander onto the front stretch, and he is going to be under fire once we get into turn 1. Carty just sticking it into Yosef's draft to try and catch up to McDonald.
Now, this is where I talk about where Sammy Yosef has been looking more disciplined, and this is where he's really going to need it. Really going to have to be careful here. Sammy Yosef's got Joshua Jackson just ahead of him there in a GT3 machine. Brandon McDonald makes him by, but Reagan Carty took a peek to the outside there, couldn't quite get it done. Maybe try to get Sammy Yosef off his game. This is one of the trickier corners here coming up, coming down into turn 4. Reagan Carty right there, really hard on the brakes. Almost gets into the back of him, but able to hold it off. Sammy Yosef doing his best defense that he can muster right now to hold off Reagan Carty.
Yosef swung around Joshua Jackson and hit those brakes early. Carty had to hold him down to try and keep himself off of the back bumper of Yosef, but the 36 is still ahead right now, and Carty is fighting him tooth and nail for this position as we get toward the halfway point.
Yeah, and this is where you don't want to let Reagan Carty get in your head. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. You have the downforce, Samuel, so you have to use it to your advantage. Reagan is sniffing for air, trying to get around you, so you just got to stay focused on what you're doing there. Focus on that leader, and you kind of somewhat have to ignore what's going on behind you. Just know where he's going to want to go in each and every corner. As we're creeping up, we got 3 minutes before halfway, and this is where it's going to be really interesting to see if these guys can make it to at least The 31-minute mark. That's what I'm looking at, Jacob. They need to make it to the 31-minute mark before they head to pit lane to be relatively safe that they can do this on one stop.
It looks like they might do so here soon because these are a little under a minute and a half laps for the GTPs. Josef got a great run down the front stretch, and he has cut that lead down to 0.8 to McDonald as McDonald has to maneuver around some lap traffic. This may play into Josef's favor.
Actually, I think it has the opposite effect there. Brendan McDonald able to clear that car before they got into the turn. And but no, you're right. Sammy Josef able to close that in even further. I think having Reagan Carty back there lit a fire under Sammy Josef trying to make it here, trying to get back up to Brendan McDonald. So now we got a 3-car battle here in the prototype field. Reagan Carty still hasn't found a way around Sammy Josef. So Samuel doing a great job, but he's all the way back now to Brendan McDonald, our leader.
All three of these cars are within a second of each other. Samuel Josef still holding off Reagan Carty. We'll see if he's managing to do it a little bit further up. McDonald with that left-hander down into the front stretch, and we're going to see a drag race between the two for fighting for second.
And here it is right here. This is the tell-all right here as we're getting ready to, we're a minute and a half from the halfway point. Going to watch pit lane here, see if anybody, no takers. So, yeah, we're right on the edge. So, if they can make it 2 more laps, if they can go by one more time, I think they're all safe for one stop. We'll have to wait and see, but these guys are battling hard. They got some lap traffic. They got Brendan Ribeiro up next in that Mercedes that they're going to have to get around, and it's going to be all about timing. Can Brendan McDonald clear this car before they get down into turn 4? It looks like Brendan McDonald is going to be there. Yeah, it looks like all our drivers are going to be able to get around Ribeiro there in that Mercedes.
Everybody clears Ribeiro, but Josef pushes a little wide. We got Carty to the inside of Samuel Josef. Josef has the advantage for the corner coming up, is able to clear Carty and get a good entry into the corner. Carty almost makes contact with the 25 or with the 36. Brendan McDonald still holding that lead up front. Carty trying to look for a way around Josef.
This is some great racing here in the prototype field here. Best battle on the track at the moment. That's why we're not talking about. Oh, Reagan Carty takes it. Wow, what a power move.
Oh,
He spins it. He just throws it into that 170 and just couldn't hold on to the back end of it, and it goes around. So Reagan Carty, you know, that's kind of his fault there. Sammy Josef just wasn't making it easy for him to get around, and I think Ribeiro, we're going to take another look here, just sends it in there. And just no downforce. I think the air came off the rear of the spoiler with Sammy Josef behind him when he tried to make that move, and that car just spun out.
Desperation heave by Reagan Carty forces the oversteer. Meanwhile, McDonald's starting to step it out over Josef once again.
Well, here's the lap that I was waiting for. They all bypassed pit lane, so I think at this point, it's pretty much a one stop for our prototype. So I was wrong. It looks like they're all going to make it with one stop. They'll probably come onto pit lane next time by if I had to guess, but I think they're in the safe window at this point now, be able to get these cars serviced and make it just on their last stop here.
Yep, some of the GT3s already opting to take it into the pits. Jacob Ellingson on pit lane now. He's making his exit. As he comes out, he's going to be in P6. Meanwhile, our GTP's leaders are still up close and personal with each other. Josef trying to get a good position on McDonald for this pit stop.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that this pit stop could be really interesting too. You kind of go into pit lane almost full throttle. You go uphill. It's kind of blind when you go up there. You go uphill, and then the pit lane just kind of levels off, and it's almost like the car wants to catch a little bit of air. So you got to be woed up earlier than you might think. And we're going to watch probably both these drivers maybe head to pit lane this time by. It looks like Samuel is off the back of Brendan McDonald just enough to make it a little safer on this pit road entry. It looks like they're both going by, so it looks like they had more fuel than I suspected there.
Yep, still going are the GTP leaders. None of the GTPs, barring Josef barring Carty, having spent any time on pit lane, and that's only because Carty started from the pit lane. Everybody's still on track, hasn't taken it down to pit road yet. Some GT3 traffic down into the middle sector as Josef trying to pull himself in toward McDonald again. They're close as they get into the curves.
Oh, Brendan McDonald almost goes out a little too wide. They're able to gather it back up. They head uphill, another tricky section of the track here, turn 7. They're going to go uphill. The cars get really light up this corner. You got to be very careful trail braking up here. Then you come in, you're hard on the brakes. See Samuel locking up the tires just a little bit, trying to get that car slowed down. That's what happens when you lose that downforce on these prototypes. Then he's going to reel it back in, try to chase down Brandon McDonald as they come into the 170 here. Going to get around here. Brandon McDonald really loose there, swings it out wide, able to hang on to it. But Sammy Joseph is there to, he's just waiting to pounce, waiting for Brandon McDonald to make a big mistake to get by.
And every time McDonald makes that exit of this corner here onto the backstretch, Joseph has been able to catch up a little bit. This time it looks like Joseph had a little bit of a bad exit as McDonald keeps that gap roughly the same. Joseph gaining a little bit as I think they're both pulling into pit road this time.
There's that uphill part I was talking about. You got to be a little careful. Sammy Joseph almost gets into the back on pit lane. He's definitely racing hard. Well, you know, this is going to be a great race off pit road as well. Now, you know, getting off pit road is 100 times harder than getting on pit road here. So, Sammy Joseph, I think Sammy Joseph overshot his box. That is definitely going to sting. Oh.
You know who didn't overshoot his box just behind them? That's Reagan Carty that's back in the frame.
Yeah, Reagan Carty might even be able to get by Sammy Joseph at this point. So you can see both Brandon McDonald and Reagan Carty up, getting tires replaced. Sammy Joseph, I don't see any tires going on that machine, so might stick with the old and not have to give up all that time on the cold tires. But now they're all exiting pit lane. Brandon McDonald leading them out. Reagan Carty stuck behind a GT3 trying to get off pit lane. It looks like that's really going to hold. Oh, no, that is. It's Johnny Hamby in the GT3. And it's just, you know, that's what you call bad luck. You're hoping you can get onto pit lane nice and clean, but that really hampered. And then you can see Sammy Joseph now. That allows Sammy Joseph to try to get that position back. Sammy Joseph, I think, is still on warm tires. So, you know, Reagan Carty's got to get his tires back up to temp. Sammy Joseph elected to stay on the old tires, so that's going to make Samuel a little bit faster, perhaps. But Reagan Carty going to go by on the inside.
Oh, contact!
Sammy Joseph trying to pinch him in there, couldn't do it. Reagan Carty's got that position for second now.
These two are going to have a battle that is going to last until we get to the front stretch because those tires are going to show their wear for Samuel Joseph. These two still staying right next to each other as they pass the left Porsche of Mike Swartzen. Joseph trying to catch up as they go into that left-hander. Carty able to take a much wider exit, but Joseph gets a much better exit, drives it to the inside, they make contact again on the exit of the turn, and that allows McDonald to just run away.
And you can see that's the exact advantage that those warm tires have, but they're older tires, so Reagan Carty, once he gets those tires heated up, it's going to take a couple laps, though, so Samuel's going to be able to pressure him, but at least for another lap here, probably. As they go into turn one, Sammy Joseph taking the inside lane, decides to give in here. Maybe he's going to back it off as they exit a 3 and try to run him back down. He got Joshua Jackson there in the GT3 Porsche just ahead of him. Going to throw up a little bit of a block. Reagan Carty slips in front. Sammy Joseph now down on the inside. It looks like Reagan Carty clearly has the advantage at the moment.
I don't think I've ever seen traffic benefit somebody so much in a race as Carty goes wide through that first left-hander. Samuel Joseph starting to fall off a little bit now, back to 4.5 tenths behind Carty as Carty needs to try and make up this ground to McDonald as he is 5.2 seconds ahead.
Yeah, I think now that he's on his second lap right now, those tires are starting to heat up. He should be able to start to open up a gap on Sammy Joseph. So, you know, when he started from pit lane, and I thought it was a fuel strategy, a move by Reagan Carty, but apparently it wasn't. So all these GTPs could make it on the one stop, but, you know, he started 13, 14 seconds back behind everyone, and he was able to run our leaders down. Then he had the incident with Sammy Joseph, and now he's got 24 minutes left to run down Brandon McDonald. And I got to tell you, Brandon McDonald's got to be very nervous right now because I think most definitely he can do it.
If you see that 25 on your relative right behind you in your class, and you've got to start thinking about how much more time can I start gaining through these corners as Carty is blazing this time to try and pick up against the lead of McDonald. Carty's fast time tonight is the fastest lap of the race, a 1:23.7 compared to McDonald's fastest time, a 1:24.4, so almost 3/4 of a second faster than McDonald is Reagan Carty, and he is going to have him by the end of this race.
Well, while we got a little bit of a break in the action and those cars have gotten separated, I want to talk about another one of our sponsors and our that gives away also to our sim rig recipients, and that's GTR Simulators. GTR Simulator, a leader in professional grade racing and flight simulators, delivers immersive real world experience. Easy for me to say, right? Trusted by racers, pilots, educators, and entertainment venues worldwide. From home setups to commercial and training solutions, GTR Simulator puts you in the driver's seat. There's a special discount code for Goat Locker Racing in the shop tab at goatlockerracing.org. Make sure you check out GTR Simulators. And I believe that... Go ahead.
As I say, GTR Simulator is the overall rig setup that is used for the sim rig giveaways, and it's one of the ones that Honest Softic is running on tonight. As we're taking a look at Joshua Jackson, Brandon Ribeiro, our second place runner in the GT3, is getting a black flag, too fast, entering pit lane. He was up 10 spots, and let's see how much this is going to cost him.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours, they say. We're looking at our leader right now, Uthman Badmus. We haven't talked about him in a while because that action in the prototype field was pretty intense there for a while, Jacob. And but Badmus has opened up quite a lead over Brandon McBarrow, who's serving that penalty currently. So it looks like he's getting that car serviced as well. So I don't know if he's going to be able to clear his black flag by getting that car serviced. So that's going to be a double whammy. But Uthman Badmus came off pit lane just a lap ago, getting the tires heated back up. But he didn't even lose a position during that pit cycle. So Uthman Badmus pretty much leading every lap of this race.
He was up 30 seconds over Brandon Ribeiro before the pit cycle started. Uthman Badmus took his pit stop. He is good to the end. And Ribeiro was able to serve his penalty on the back end of his service, but that means he spent a minute in his pit box. And I think Badmus is going to run away with this one like he did at Monza.
Yeah, all he has to do is keep it safe and not make any mistakes, which he hasn't, from what I've seen, isn't prone to do. So it's only the second race I've able to watch him, but super fast out there. Hamby was trying to chase him down early in this race. I'm looking at where Hamby's at. Hamby currently running in the third position right now, just on the podium there for Hamby. So he hasn't, still trying to fight for that podium position. DJ Patterson is a little ways back from him. Joshua Jackson there, actually 5 seconds behind Johnny Hamby. So Johnny Hamby trying to hang on to that third and final podium spot. But the GT3s have really separated themselves.
Yep, 44 seconds the gap between Uthman Badmus, the leader, and your second place runner in the GT3's Jacob Ellingson. A further 7.5 back to Johnny Hamby. Joshua Jackson, after the early spin and the contact with John Houchin, is 5.3 seconds back behind Hamby. And fourth, Timothy Williams, 2.5 behind Jackson, running in P5.
Looking back at our leader, Brendan McDonald, and just behind him, you can see that blue and white car just barely glimpsing in there. And when I say barely, he's only like 3 seconds back there. So you can see Reagan Carty starting to chase that machine of Brendan McDonald down in the closing moments of this race. Well, 20 minutes to go, but that's going to be nothing for Reagan Carty with his pace right now at the moment. But we've seen Reagan Carty really struggle when he gets up there racing, when he loses that downforce on the car. And we'll see if Brendan McDonald can put up a fight, because that's really what Brendan McDonald is going to have to do. He's going to have to try to take as much air away from that machine coming up on him as possible. And maybe he'll get lucky and Reagan Carty will make a mistake like he did with Sammy Yosef. And Brendan McDonald can get a win here tonight. But I don't know. That's going to be tough. Reagan Carty is a tough competitor. He's our points leader in the prototype field. Almost, I want to say, running away with it. Anything can happen. You know, we get the 2-hour races out here. It's a double points night when we do have the 2-hour races. So I don't want to give it to him just yet, but he's really showing that the reason why he's in the points lead. I think he came into the season 2 races with a 2-race deficit. He missed the first 2 races of the season. He's able to get himself in the points lead and starting to run away with it. That just shows you what a strong driver that Reagan Carty is. But you know, we had another driver early in the season that looked really promising. We don't have that driver out here now, and so Reagan Carty's just been able to put show on these guys. Reagan Carty has won every race that he's been in but one, and I think that was Fuji, if I remember right.
Meanwhile, about Brennan McDonald. If he saved anything on this run, he's been putting together a really good points run this season as well. If he's saved anything after taking those tires and that service, he's got to put it to work now, as Carty is within 1.1 seconds of trying to take this lead, and he's got a little under 20 minutes left to fight with Carty to fight him off for this win.
Yeah, and just an update on Sammy Yosef. You can see it there on the screen. Over 17 seconds back. That's how much those old tires are starting to punish Sammy Yosef. So maybe missing his pit box and then staying on old tires might not have been the right choice there for Sammy Yosef. But we're continuing to watch Brandon McDonald lead this thing. For how long is going to be the question. Can he hold on for another 15-plus minutes over Reagan Carty? That's going to be the tail here. They're making their way through the S's right now. Through the 170, as I like to call it, unofficially. I'm sure Interlagos Speedway will probably have something to say to me afterwards for calling it that. But they're getting down here, going through the downhill section. And Brendan McDonald, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, this has been his best corner right here. That's how he's able to keep Sammy Yosef behind him, is being really strong off this corner. But he's going to have to do it for at least another, I don't know, probably 13 laps based on the clock here. He's got a lot of laps to try to keep Reagan Carty behind him.
McDonald has been great at the exit of Sector 3, but it doesn't offset how much of a run Carty gets through the middle sector, as we saw him drop a quarter of a second off that lap, even though McDonald was pulling away from him at the line.
Yeah, Reagan Carty's definitely going to be here this lap, and Brendan McDonald's checking that out. So now he's got to time his traffic right now. They're catching up to Timothy Wilms there in that BMW. Just ahead of him there, some GT3 traffic. I think that's going to be out of the way by the time they get through the corner here. Going to take the outside. GT3 going to stay low. Going to head uphill here, and this is where Brendan McDonald can't allow Reagan Carty to get in his head. I said this about Sammy Yosef. You got to run your race. Kind of ignore that car behind you. Maybe try to take some air away is about the best you can do. But Brendan McDonald is going to hang on for dear life here.
Yep, that 25 is on the rear bumper of the 92 of McDonald. Getting through the middle sector here, Carty having to hit the brakes like he was fighting with Samuel Yosef earlier. It's the same spot on track where they almost made contact. McDonald able to get it through the corners here, but is Carty going to set up a good exit up the hill?
We'll see. Brendan McDonald gets a little wide there. Carty looking to the outside, now the inside. They got some GT3 traffic. They're going Mike Swartzen. They're going to split him. They're going to go by, and they'll stay nose to tail like they were before. But Brendan McDonald got a great exit there. Coming up on Joshua Jackson, going to try to beat him into turn one. Both those cars will beat Joshua Jackson into this corner. Oh, man, gets a little wide there for Brendan McDonald. That's going to slow him up just a little bit, allow Reagan Carty right there to his back door. Can Reagan Carty make the pass into turn four here?
Yep, having to move for the GT3, compromised McDonald's entry. Carty matched it and was able to catch right back up to McDonald as we get into the second sector here, almost making contact. They're so close together. McDonald's going to have the advantage with the position on the inside for the right-hander here, and Carty's going to have to drop back, or if he pulls a late lunge to try and make a move to the inside, he is going to pull it. Oh, McDonald just threads the needle, makes contact with Hamby on the outside, and Carty is through.
It just says it. Poor Hamby is just an innocent victim out there. These two guys are battling hard there. Luckily, no harm, no foul. Both drivers able to keep going, but what a move by Reagan Carty there. Now Brendan McDonald is going to have to somehow mount a charge here, but that, I don't know, you can see Reagan Carty already starting to step away.
The one mistake McDonald makes all race, and it costs him the lead, as Carty has already stepped out to 0.7 of a second as they get up the hill. McDonald able to get a better exit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to offset through the middle sector again as Carty takes the lead and leads at the stripe for the first time tonight.
Brendan McDonald had such an advantage going up the hill, and he looked really good holding on through the S's. And then, like he said, he made that mistake, probably the only mistake we've seen him make all night. Slides up the track, gets into Hamby, has to gather it up. I don't know how both those cars stayed alive, but they did. And but yeah, tough break for Brendan McDonald. But you know, you got Reagan Carty behind you. I don't know. I can't say that I would be able to handle that kind of pressure myself. That's a hard push, because you know that guy is bad fast.
Yep, he has been fast all season long, has shown just the caliber of competitor that he is as they weave around the GT3 of Jacob Ellingson. Reagan Carty just keeping the lead, Pied Pipering Brandon McDonald through the middle sector here, and he has stretched it out to 0.8 of a second as we get towards 10 minutes left in this race.
Yeah, Brendan McDonald's going to have to watch very closely here what Reagan Carty's doing, maybe try to gather something up. I think at this point, Brendan McDonald's going to have to just manage his equipment and hope that maybe Reagan Carty has a mistake, another one of those mistakes like he had with Sammy Yosef, or maybe gets in trouble with some GT3 traffic is about going to be his only hope.
Yep, starting to step it out a little bit further. Meanwhile, another fight happening in the GT3 series, as we haven't talked about them recently. DJ Patterson defending from the 293 of Anis Softic as they get down into the second sector. Softic trying to weave around, break that toe of the McLaren just ahead. They round through the two left-handers up into the middle sector. Patterson able to keep it ahead, but Softic is gaining, get up into that right-hander, and Softic might try to make a move in the same spot that we saw the GTPs make it. Softic a little bit better through that corner there, catching up to the McLaren, has to brake and swing wide to avoid hitting him, and it's back to square one. But they are within 1/4 of a second of each other, and this is the closest battle on track right now.
Yeah, DJ Patterson has been doing a good job making that McLaren as wide as possible. You're looking at a front-engine car versus a mid-engine car there. And, you know, there's advantages and disadvantages of both. One of the things is you know, your quarter entry there in that BMW is going to be a little bit tighter, so you can get on the brakes probably a little bit more aggressively than that McLaren can. But the McLaren could probably lay the power down a little bit better. And then, of course, you got the BMW straight line speed, which we might see here. He's got a little bit of toe behind that McLaren. And then we'll see if that BMW horsepower can do anything, see if he can get him in the braking zone here. Going to look to the outside in that police car, that BMW police car. It's not the preferred line. DJ Patterson down on the inside, going to go down into one, see if there's going to be a crossover. Not quite. BMW's going to have to give up.
Yep, he tried pushing it to the outside to maybe set up for a run on the inside down the hill through the Senna S. But as they make their exit, Softic still 0.3 of a second behind DJ Patterson, as we see our GTP leaders coming up in the background. Jamie Lipke in threat of going a lap down to Reagan Carty.
Yeah, Jamie Lipke, I don't think we mentioned her all night, not intentionally, but she's currently running back there in that 6th position as we're watching all these cars there we go. Is Jamie Lipke going a lap down as Reagan Carty goes by. So Jamie Lipke now a lap down in the prototype field. Oh, and Softic almost gets into the back of that McLaren there, DJ Patterson. Then Brendan McDonald trying to find his way around those two cars. Brendan McDonald really held up right now. He's going to lose a bunch of time to our leader there of Reagan Carty.
He was the biggest loser in all that, but the GT3s were fighting for position. McDonald just caught up a little bit in that it's just a bad spot to catch any traffic. Softic gets through the sweeping left-hander, up the other left-hander to the front stretch, and Softic is going to lead DJ Patterson up the hill as he takes 9th spot.
You know, I'm really proud of that. You know, that's one of our SimRig recipients we talked about early in the broadcast here tonight, Anis Softic. He's out there. He's doing a great job. I mean, he's not out there leading the race or anything like that, but he's showing some really good racecraft. Him and DJ Patterson going at it. They're not really running into each other. They're just racing really hard and showing really good car control for being really new to iRacing and that SimRig. So doing a great job out there tonight.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what position you're in. If you're battling back and forth like this, it's worth showing.
Well, they're headed down into turn 4 here. One of the trickiest corners on the track here, and it looks like DJ Patterson was going to take a look there, but swung out a little wide, lost a little bit of air on that car. Softic going to run him uphill here into where they were battling before into these S's. It seems like this is where these two guys seem to jumble up the most. Softic opening up a little bit of a gap, 9/10 right at the moment. We'll see if Softic can open up a little bit more of a lead over DJ Patterson, but right now it's looking really solid out there in that 9th place position.
Under 10 minutes left in this race. Reagan Carty out to a convincing lead, 3.4 seconds over Brendan McDonald for the GTPs. Meanwhile, Uthman Badmus has stretched his lead over Jacob Ellingson by 55 seconds. He's trying to get a minute over second place before we end this race, and just unheard of speed from Uthman Badmus. Like I said at the beginning, track knowledge definitely playing a role here.
Yeah, well, he's also got zip code knowledge too, because he's in a completely different zip code. He's just running that Corvette. Nobody around him, just putting a beat down on the rest of the field here tonight. He pretty much did that last week too. Not quite to this extent here, but going by now the lap car of Timothy Wilms there, the 5th place in the GT3 field. So putting him a lap down on their laps. So Uthman Badmus just dominating here again tonight. Well, you know who else dominates? That's Save 22. Save 22 is one of those great companies, a great organization that helps out veterans. The Save 22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Their unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, educate. Save 22. You know, veterans, if you're struggling and you need some help, reach out to them. They can help you out. We talked about Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. Save 22 is one of those organizations that can help you with maybe some mental struggles that you've been dealing with, anything like that. Make sure you reach out to them. You know, don't do it alone. We're all here to help.
I'll have to tell Nick Trussell to maybe put that as a testimonial on the website. Save 22 dominates.
I didn't have a really good lead in for that, but we all love Save 22 out here and what they do for veterans in our first responder community.
Yeah, longtime partner with Goat Locker. Very much looking forward to extending that relationship further into the future. I know I said that earlier about the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, but anyone that helps out with veterans and just helping any process that veterans have to go through just deserves all the respect in the world, and Save 22 is another one of those.
Looking at another top 5 driver there, Billy Sigmund out there. Another driver we haven't probably mentioned all night. Not intentionally there, Billy, but doing a great job there. Currently running 5th in that prototype right now. He's in a BMW prototype, the only prototype out there that is a BMW. So doing a great job out there. Currently looking at a top 5 if he can hang on to it, and it looks like he will. Going around the lap car of Mike Swartzen there in that green Porsche. But hats off to Billy Sigmund there.
Yep, we've seen Sigmund have some really good runs, and it might be a little confusing to see him in this car because he was in the GT3s prior to this. He was running a BMW GT3, and he was having some really good runs. I think he was competing for a podium before a mechanical malfunction took him out of that one, but he has held a top 5 very convincingly in the closing stages of this one.
Looking at Reagan Carty right now. Reagan Carty closing in on the back of Billy Sigmund, who we just spoke about. Reagan Carty continuing his dominant run there, starting from pit lane, able to catch up to the leaders at the halfway point of the race, have a spin, go through the pit cycle, and then finds himself in the lead with 4.5 minutes to go. So we're looking at about, 3.5 laps or so if I'm looking at the timer right. Before we wrap this thing up here tonight, Reagan Carty once again dominating this field. He's got 7.7 seconds over now. Brendan McDonald has fallen back into that 2nd position.
Brendan McDonald getting around the 101 of Brandon Ribeiro, and things go from bad to worse for the Mercedes as he has a black flag likely for track limits, and he's going to have to pull it back down pit road.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for that driver there. Very fast driver, just not having the night that we're normally used to seeing him there. That Mercedes has been fast this season, but you can see him headed to pit lane, going to get that penalty served, get that drive-through done, get back out there. We'll see if he loses too much. He's got Nicholas Myers behind him. It's about, it's going to be close. He might be able to stay behind Nicholas Myers. This should only be a drive-through. So, yeah, it is, and he's going to be able to get back out on the track and beat that 7th place driver of Nicholas Myers in the 038 machine.
Yeah, Meier's going to have a 6-second gap to get back to him, but I don't think it's going to be possible with 3 minutes left, and Ribeiro is still going to hold on to the title of biggest mover in this race. At one point, he was up 10 spots, but that pit penalty ended up costing him dearly, as he's going to have to settle for a 6th place finish.
Back up front, I'm looking at our leader, Reagan Carty, continuing to, of course, lead this thing. The gap really hasn't changed between him and Brendan McDonald. Kind of maybe maintaining his pace. He's probably knows that at this point, as long as he doesn't make any more mistakes, he's got this thing wrapped up. Just needs to close the deal here, so to speak. We'll have probably 2 to go this time by. Looking at the timer here, yeah, it should be 2 to go. So after this time by, we should bring out the glove station white flag. So I expect that next time by. But Reagan Carty continuing to put a beat down on this field here. Brendan McDonald, though, what a great job by Brendan McDonald. Solid night, not too many mistakes. Currently running in that second spot there, putting the flashers on, letting that leader there of Uthman Badmus, the leader of the GT3 field, know that he's coming to please get out of the way, and I'm sure he will. But a couple of top drivers there giving each other respect.
Yep, a lot of times we've seen great battles throughout the first 40 minutes of these races, but it just ends up whoever makes the least mistakes. We saw Josef with that mistake on pit road is put in behind. Brendan McDonald with the mistake through the middle sector while fighting with Reagan Carty, put Reagan Carty up to the front, and Reagan Carty is going to benefit and likely take the win, as he is going to be wrapping around and probably going to take the final lap here, as we are less than 1:30 left.
Yeah, this definitely should be the white flag lap right here, as he's rounding the final couple of turns here, headed uphill into turn 10, I believe, or turn 11. I can't even remember. Anyway, they're going to go uphill, head up towards the start-finish line, around these couple of corners, these big sweepers here, full throttle. You can see the flag man in the flag stands waving that white flag. He's got those glove station, or those, not glove station, yeah, glove station gloves on, waving that white flag. Reagan Carty going to lead this lap one more time to try to get this win here tonight. No mistakes. Focus on what you got to do. Keep it smooth. And he's got this victory all but wrapped up.
Yeah, while Carty puts this lap together, Uthman Badmus for the GT3s has crossed the start-finish line, so this race is official after the end of this lap. However, he is fighting the turns to try and put that last 3/4 of a second over Jacob Ellingson to have taken a full minute's lead over the rest of the GT3 field in pure dominating fashion.
Yeah, I almost feel like he probably would have liked to have lapped the whole field, as we're watching Reagan Carty now come through the last couple of corners here. He's got Joshua Jackson there in that Porsche. Joshua Jackson currently running in that in the 4th position, excuse me. Going to get around him, going to go through the 170, as I like to call it there. Joshua going to follow him through. Going to round the last couple of corners here, headed down into turn 12. I got it right this time, I think. And this could be the last couple of corners for Reagan Carty. Started from the pits, spun out, battling with Sammy Josef, able to gather it back up, run the leaders back down. What a dominating performance once again. This win is going to go to Reagan Carty once again.
Awesome dominating win from Reagan Carty, another one on the year, and that will cement his points lead. Meanwhile, our GT3 leader coming up the hill this time, the 015 puts it in victory lane back-to-back weeks. Uthman Badmus with a bad fast run, putting it on the top spot of the podium for the GT3s again.
Well, you know what, Jacob? This race didn't disappoint. Brendan McDonald, heck of a showing. Same with Sammy Josef in the prototype field. Watched those guys battle all night long. And then, of course, he had the GT3 field. A little bit more separation tonight, but you know what? That's what makes this great. Last week, I think we talked a lot more about the GT3s than we did the prototypes. But this week, the prototypes kind of stole the show from the GT3s, and sometimes that's the way it works out. But meanwhile, Reagan Carty's going to celebrate this victory. We are going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back with your unofficial results, and we're going to talk to our podium finishers here tonight.
We're not done yet, Ken. We got Johnny Hamby within a second of Jacob Ellingson going through that middle sector, almost caught back up to him and gets a great exit through the corners here. Jacob Ellingson probably going to step it away up the hill, and he is going to Johnny Hamby a little too much time to make up, trying to tail that Mustang up the hill. Johnny Hamby going to bring it home in third for the GT3s, but Jacob Ellingson with a second place finish in class.
I guess I was thinking like oval racing. Once those leaders cross the line, everybody else pretty much follows suit. I forgot we got guys that are almost a lap down, and so I was trying to throw it really early there. But I'll tell you what, that was a great finish for those top two drivers there. I guess we'll have both those guys in the broadcast booth as well here after we come back from that commercial break I was so anxious to get to.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
We're back live here in Brazil, here at Interlagos with an exciting finish. Boy, did those prototypes put on a show. Reagan Carty comes out on top once again with a victory here tonight in Brazil. Got Brendan McDonald, heck of a showing there in the 92 machine, finishes second. Sammy Yosef in his Porsche will finish third. We'll talk to those guys here momentarily. Elijah Toth finishes fourth. Billy Sigmund will finish fifth. Jamie Lipke will finish sixth. And Bill Mofield wraps out your prototype field in seventh.
And for the GT3s, the Minuteman, Uthman Badmus, puts another win on the board back-to-back weeks. Jacob Ellingson with a podium this week in second. Johnny Hamby brings it home in third. Joshua Jackson fights back up the field for fourth. Timothy Williams finishes in P5. Brandon Ribeiro, after some setbacks, finishes in P6. Nicholas Myers in P7. John Houchin, after a penalty, finishes P8. Anna Softic in 9th. DJ Patterson in 10th. Mike Swardson finishes in P11, and Matt Wiebers finishes in P12.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am standing by with Reagan Carty, your winner in the prototype field. Hey, Reagan, you got a copy?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, great job up there tonight. I got to ask you, what was the strategy starting in the pits tonight?
It was honestly kind of like I really didn't fancy qualifying today, and I thought it'd be pretty fun trying to just work my way all the way through again. So yeah, it definitely was fun. I mean, I thought I ruined it all with the little spin, but apart from that, it was all very fun.
Yeah, we kind of did too. So you did it twice tonight, so that was basically at the halfway point. And at the top of the broadcast, I was mentioning I thought it was all about fuel strategy because normally you guys are really tight on these hour-long races, whether it's going to be a two or one-stop race. So I thought that might have been the reason you started from pit lane, but apparently it wasn't. But you did a great job on the first half of the race, getting yourself up to the leaders, and then you got. I don't know. You kind of did a full send there with Sammy Yosef and got the rear end stepped out there. And like you said, you thought you were going to lose it. But was that your plan coming into it? Was there any fuel strategy thought coming into this race?
I was thinking about it, like whether I should just stay behind a bit because my tires are actually like just fully dead, really. Kind of like was just not happy with them for me anyway. And so when I caught up to him, I was kind of like thinking, but then I tried that send, and then as soon as I did that, I'd be like, I need to push more now. So fuel strategy's out the window.
Well, that was a great run. So next week we're headed to Sebring there in Florida. What's your experience with that track? What do you got for these guys?
I mean, quite a few. I think two or three Sebring 12 hours, and then a few leagues separate as well.
Yeah, I kind
So
of figured you were going to say something like
yeah,
that.
pretty.
just
I
what
mean,
just what everybody else wanted to hear. But you know what? There's a lot of drivers out there that are kind of in the same boat. Sebring's a really popular track.
oh yeah, 100%. But it's always that little bump that will just be unnoticed that could throw you off.
Well, who do you have to thank to get you back up there in victory lane at once again?
Uh, so shout out to Throttleworks Racing again, let me race under their name. And shout out to them for giving me a nice livery as well, and putting on this league of Lincoln Tech, Safe 22, MK Fire Design, Zach Graphics, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, IN Vets, and ATYL. Big man thing.
Your race winner, Reagan Carty, there once again in victory lane.
And for your GT3 podium, I'm standing by with your class winner, Uthman Badmus. This is Jake Linke in the booth. You got a copy? Uthman, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
What a dominant performance. I feel like we're going to have like a carbon copy of the conversation we had last week at Monza, but you were just lights out that entire race, put the entire field a minute behind you. Take us through it.
In quali, got a bit nervous because I invalidated my fast lap, my third one. But still managed to secure pole, which was good. And then I'm not really familiar with the start procedure here, so trying to keep that 5 second gap to the GTPs. At one point I was in the window, but then at the very end it closed up to around 3 seconds. So I did see a couple stragglers from the GTP field right in front of me. Around 8 laps into the race, unfortunately I killed Matt trying to get past him. I don't think there was any issue there. Hopefully I don't get a penalty. And it was just a race where you just ran laps. Not much else to do. I had some pretty solid pace. And that was pretty much it. Oh yeah, and I almost died on the last lap pushing for PB.
Yep, we saw that going around. You have a lot of track knowledge with Interlagos, I take it, to be able to put together this performance tonight.
Funnily enough, I did not practice for this race really. Nowhere near what I did for Monza.
All right, another blindingly fast race by your winner. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the top step of the podium?
Our sponsors, of course. So we have Lincoln Tech Safe 22. For this series, we have our title sponsor, MK Fire Designs and ZAT Graphics. We have the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, IN Vets, and ATYL. And for me personally, that would be iCoaching, my livery sponsor. We offer setups and coaching for most of the disciplines on iRacing. Luke Mansky Racing, who I drive for, and of course, the most important, my parents.
Yes, sir. Always got to remember where you came from. Thank you for your time. Congrats on the win. We'll see you at Sebring.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, that was our first place in the GT3 field. I'm going to bring in Brandon McDonald. Brandon McDonald, this is Ken Huber and Jacob Lemke in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Ken, I got you.
Hey, what a great show you put on tonight. Man, I seen you did everything you could to hold off Brandon McDonald. What was your strategy coming into tonight?
Honestly, I gotta talk about Reagan for a second. He told you he didn't fancy qualifying. No, he just wanted to make us all look bad. His exact words.
I
maybe
know.
not quite exactly that. No, it was a fun
I
race. He's
I
he's a
read
great
into
teammate.
that too. Yeah.
As an owner of ThrottleWorks, and the racing team that we're a part of, and it's just such a pleasure to have him on the team and to learn from him and see what he can do on the track. One of these days I'll beat him on pace, hopefully. But no, it was a fun race. We were just there to have fun, and it was a good time.
No, you did a great job out there tonight. So, don't cut yourself short. I'm sure you'll be there soon, especially you got a teammate like Reagan. Looked very strong out there tonight. Look forward to seeing what you can do at Sebring. What do you got for Sebring?
What do I say every week, Ken? Hopes and prayers. No, that's a bumpy track. It's really easy to spin these cars out there. A lot of overtaking opportunities. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it goes well.
Well, who do you have to thank to get you on the podium here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank Jam Printing and Promotions. Of course, got to thank V Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, GTR Simulators, and most importantly, MK Fire Designs and Zach Graphics.
All right. Well, good luck to you next week. We'll see what you can do.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep. That was Brendan McDonald, second place there in the prototype field.
And your second place finisher in the GT3 field. I can't believe I'm saying this. Jake Ellingson. This is Jake Lanky in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, is this thing on? Am I in the right place?
I don't know either. You had a lot of great horses under the hood tonight. A couple of missteps by some of our faster drivers in the field put you up in the running for that P2 spot. And you put on, like, you had a almost flawless race put together. Take us through it.
Just a few off tracks. I mean, otherwise, I just wanted to keep it pointed forward and, trying to learn a little bit more of this road racing stuff. Um, I enjoy it. So just trying to hop in these races and trying to learn and have a little bit of fun and just do what I do.
Yep, getting seat time in any discipline is beneficial for any time you hop in a car or try to get a little bit faster in really any discipline you try to. And is Interlagos a track that you've been looking forward to on the season, or is this one just completely a surprise out of nowhere?
Surprisingly enough, I first time I've been on this track was about 6:30 Central this afternoon. So it played well for me, and I honestly couldn't be happier. I mean, unfortunately, some unfortunate incidences with some of the faster guys, got me into this position. I feel bad for them, but you know, just kept it clean and kept the car pointed forward and drove on.
Well, you might be a spoiler at this track going forward. Great finish tonight. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the podium?
I definitely got to thank Lincoln Tech. Unfortunately, I don't have a Lincoln Tech car painted up for the series because I don't run it too often. But I definitely got to thank Lincoln Tech. They sponsor the car in every other series that I run in, and I'm sure they would be glad to put their name on the car. For the GT3 series here. Otherwise, I definitely got to thank Save 22, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, and Vets, Jam Printing and Promotions, Alexander's PCs, Cruising Classics, GTR Simulators, MK Fire Design, Simmotion, Harpoons Design, Zach Graphics. Um, and definitely you guys at V-Speed. I know you guys all volunteer some of your time to come out and put on these broadcasts, and they're amazing broadcasts. So thank you guys very much for doing that. And then last but not least, I got to thank my beautiful wife and my wonderful daughters for allowing me to come out and have fun with you guys.
Yes, sir. Great run tonight. Congrats on the podium. We'll see you at Sebring.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Well, that was Jake Ellingson. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk to third place, Sammy Yosef in the prototype field. Sammy, you got a copy Ken Huber with you.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, don't sound so disappointed. You put on a great show. That first half of the race, you made Brendan McDonald work really hard. Talk about the first half of the race, how that went for you.
Yeah, man, Interlagos is such a fun track, but it's also such a challenging track, and I think that's what makes it, one of those tracks that cannot disappear from, open wheel and sports car races. I try to keep Brendan honest and try to keep right behind him, see if he would make a mistake, but he just ran flawlessly through that first half. And then Reagan came up, and it's always fun battling with Reagan because just don't know what he's gonna do, but it's also a learning lesson behind it. So fun race. And then after my pit stop mistake, I think you guys got it, but I just kind of fell back and I was just enjoying the track as it was.
We're very good at catching other people's mistakes, so that's what we do here. So,
Yeah.
no, but you did a great job. You really showed a lot of prowess out there, staying behind Brandon McDonald. I mean, every time you'd get caught up in some GT3 traffic, you'd hang back. You were very disciplined out there. Did you put any practice time in prior to coming out here tonight?
Yeah, I did a little practice. We got Sebring coming up, so and then we also have the Sebring 12-hour coming up, and I'm running in the GTPs for the first time. So just kind of just still learning this car. There's always something new to learn about it every time I come on to a different track. And I can't wait for next week. I'm gonna put it out there. I think I'm gonna beat Brennan in Sebring next week. So just gonna put a little challenge for myself.
Well, that'll be encouragement for everybody to tune in to see if you can live up to your word there. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, who do you have to thank for getting you this third place finish here tonight?
Yeah, always to iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, Harpin Design, Zach Graphics, and big shout out to TWR once again with the sweep of the podium. Can't wait for next week.
Good job there. We'll see you next week there, Samuel.
See you, Ken.
And last but not least, your third place finisher in the GT3, Johnny Hamby. This is Jake Leike in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
We didn't have to talk about you a whole lot tonight, and that was due to you putting together a very quiet but fast performance. Why don't you take us through this race?
Yeah, so I've been out of it for about a year and a half, 2 years, trying to get my legs under me, making some rookie mistakes, but no way anybody was catching Mr. Badness. But I did screw up coming off of pit road, hit the wall, came through for a fast repair, put me in third, and I was running P2 down, and a couple more laps maybe. But like I said, I'm just in here to kind of get my legs back under me again, and it's a great league to do it in. It's been a blast.
Yep, we almost cut to commercial after time had come through, but you were catching Jacob Ellingson at a blistering rate. So we just had to cover that entire final lap of yours, and we saw some great moves being put on. You got within 0.6 of a second, but it wasn't enough to pull that second spot, but it does keep you on the podium. And I think that you're going to be somebody we're going to look at a lot more in the weeks to come, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was using some leftover off tracks on that last turn to try to get the run down the backstretch.
Yeah, just straighten it out a little bit.
Yeah, try to get a little speed catching them, but it was like I said, it's been good to try to get back into the flow here. It's a good lead to do it in.
Yep, and we have been having some great races all season long. Finally, who do you have to thank for putting you on the podium?
Oh, just the guys here at Goat Locker. I kind of jumped in here a couple of weeks ago, started checking it out. Been very receptive, very helpful. Uh, just I had a blast being here. I'd like to thank McLaren for a great car. I hadn't driven it much, and I'm having fun getting to know it. And thank you guys for a great broadcast. I've watched them; they're really good.
Yes, sir, and we appreciate that. Congrats on the podium. Thank you for your time. We'll see you at Sebring.
All right, now, thank you.
Well, there you have it. Those were our podium finishers on the night. What a great race we had. You know what, Jacob? It seems like every other week. Sometimes we have it where the prototypes are battling it out. Sometimes we have it the GT3s are battling out. Sometimes we have both, and we're both running with our heads cut off. But tonight was a great battle for all those drivers here. Looking forward to Sebring. What do you think?
Yeah, we were able to cover a lot of great battles tonight between both the GTPs and the GT3s, and I think it's been one of our better races overall. And I think Sebring and the start of our US section of the schedule is going to be a heck of a show for everybody as we go from Sebring all the way through Watkins Glen, all the way into USA.
Yeah, and there's a lot of popular tracks out there with the drivers, so I think our turnout is going to pick up once again. So it's probably going to make these races even more more nail biting and more exciting, that's for sure. But what a great race. So look forward to being here next week at Sebring with everybody. And of course, tonight's race has been brought to you by MK Vire Design right here on V-Speed. Goat Locker Racing on behalf of Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkus, myself, Ken Huber, Jamie Lipke in the booth. Bobby Bender has been on production once again, and then Dougie Beard on cameras tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Hope to see everyone here again next week for Sebring.